All right, guys, is the economy on turbo boost or should we be hitting the brakes? We're going to be talking about the predictions we made on the last episode to see if those auctions were turboed or, well, let's get to it. This is Bid Nerds. The bidding starts now. Bid Nerds is your YouTube card game show. All right, everybody, welcome to a live episode of Bid Nerds. It's Sunday night. We're going to get rolling here. Michael Deeb over there in San Francisco. I'm in Las Vegas. My name is John Polnick. Deeb, I went and bought this hat. I went to a mall for the first time. I don't know
what was
when
that
like? Dude, like a mall. I didn't know that they still existed. My wife dragged me to a mall, and I went into the store, the Stance store, and I was very disappointed as a car guy. Nothing to do with the word, at least in the association that I
had nothing to do with camber.
Yeah, exactly. It was like socks or something like that. I don't know. It was just whatever.
You went up to the sales girl and you're like, do you have any ride height? And she was like, we're all out.
Yeah, exactly. So I bought a hat. It took the lady forever.
Yeah.
Of course, I somehow, being the cheap bastard that I am, I found the cheapest thing in the entire store. And it was marked $9.97 in the 40% off bin. And I'm like, okay, I'll buy that. So I go and buy the hat, and she rings me up, and she's like, yeah, thank you, exactly. But she's like, it's $19. And I'm like, okay, I know I'm crappy with math, and I'm not so bright, and my vision's going, but I think the label says, I think you added a 1, or something. Yeah. She's like looking at it like, oh, you're right. And it took like forever. She's like, had to go and talk to her manager. Like, I came in the store. I felt like I should buy something, so I bought getting the stick of gum for change. So I bought 2 because it wound up being $6. So I got a discount, $6.97.
Wow.
So,
jeez,
there it is. There's my
couldn't
Stance
afford
hat.
not to go. Well, quick shout out. We had, forgive me if I'm slurring my words. Today was Celeste's 3rd birthday party.
Woo-hoo!
Wild and three. So we had people over to the house, and everybody's been drinking white wine in my backyard. We kicked most everybody out, but if there's some noise, it's because there are still people partying in my house. And I may or may not have had a glass of wine. And also, JP, before we start the show, quick shout out to Anthony Vieira. One of Anthony's sons has been more than under the weather. So Luke, had to go see the doctor and stay the night and all that. So Luke is back home, and we just want to tell Anthony and Mercedes we're happy to hear that Luke is on the mend and home and doing better, and that our thoughts have been with him for the last couple of days because he's, not been doing so great, and now he's a little bit better. And so that's all pointing in the right direction. Welcome home, Luke, from the Bid Nerds. We love you, Sadie's. We're glad you're home.
True. Glad he's all right. And speaking of the Spud Syndicate up there in Idaho, Randy is talking about the Air and Coffee event coming up.
Yeah.
Spearheaded by our good friend of the show, Kelly Smith. They are doing basically a little micro looft up there in Idaho. What was that, May 10th? Am I getting that?
May
right?
10th? Yeah. It's come to my attention, and I should know this since my wife has a child. But that is Mother's Day weekend. So, JP, I'm going to have to get a whole hall pass to go, but I can't afford not to be there. The last time I was in town, Kelly was ducking me. So now that I know he'll actually be in Boise, I think I'm going to go just so I can track him down and let everybody know that I know him. So that kind of thing. So there you go. So, Kelly, we're coming. The Bid Nerds are on their way. We're going to make it. It's going to be fun.
The whole Mother's Day, Father's Day thing is such a scam because really mothers get 2 days. Father's Day is just another Mother's Day. It's just the day that the wife says, no, you have to come and spend it with like no father can ever goes and does what dad wants to do, go race a car or go to a football game or something like that. No,
right.
It's just a double
brunch.
up on Mother's Day. Let's just be honest. It's second Mother's Day. So since you just say, look, I'll be there for second Mother's Day. And when your wife looks at you with that blank, the other Mother's Day, the one they call Father's Day, but we all know is actually second Mother's Day.
Yeah.
Come on.
It's a greeting card and a $40 salad. So there you go. Yeah. Happy Mother's Day.
That's right. All right. Are we going to Air and Water? Anybody going to Air and Water at the end of the month? That's coming up. I know you're not going to make it.
I'm fading out. Yep. I'm falling out of that one.
Yeah, we shall see.
I'd rather go to Kelly's party.
There you go. We've done Air and Water. They're doing it at the same damn place. What the hell? All right, well, screw all that. Look, we're here to talk about cars and auctions and markets and prices. The turbo economy is in effect. The stock market is up 2,000 points one day, down 1,000 points the next day. You just can't keep track. It's on turbo boost. It's like psh, 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 and every time, it's like you have that snap forward when you get, and then that snap back when you're off boost. It's like that's what the economy feels like. And a lot of people I know have been coming to you, Deeb, since we are now officially in the business of repping folks who want to sell their cars on the auction sites. We will do that for you. We'll take all the assets. We'll we'll interact with the audience and the buyers. We'll do all the things for you so you don't have to.
So JP, I have a question.
Okay.
If you give me permission, I'm going to put you on the spot. I'm going to really stick it to you like a journalist.
Here we go.
But the question that keeps coming to me is, now that you and JP are going to go sell cars on the Bid Nerd name, is JP going to start being nicer to everybody on air? And that's the $6,400 question. Is that going to get JP to start doing like a spoonful of sugar to help the transaction get sold? I think there's a song for that. So that's the big question. Like,
my job is to create the assets. Michael Deeb's job is to do the soft skills, the interaction with the audience. I won't be going on there interacting with the audience. It's not a good, unless you need a stick. He's the carrot on the stick.
Do we think Doug DeMiro or PCAR Markets can answer the phone when Bid Nerds calls to do business with them? We will soon see. We have 3 cars in the pipeline for Bid Nerds. The first one, I'm just a slight tease, is a real pearl clutcher. You guys are going to love it. And then the next 2 are friends of the show, friends of Mental, who we love, and they're really cool cars and completely different from one another, although they are both V8s, JP. There is some similarities to be had. So it'll be fun as we bring those cars to the auction, and then we will do deep dives on all of them and have a lot of fun with it with the new Bid Nerds account. So we hope everybody will jump on there and give us a hand, pull us up.
All 3 are V8s, actually.
All 3 are V8s. That is correct. From 3 different manufacturers and in 3 different locations in the car.
That's true. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Yeah, they're all the V8 configurations you could possibly imagine in 3 different auctions. All right, let's get to predictions. Let's get to going over the numbers from the last episode, and because everybody wants to get to the new predictions. So let's go hit the cars from last time. What were our predictions? How did we do? Did we nail it, or do we need to hit the brakes? What did we do? Which car are we doing?
Wow, JP, man, it is such a weird market. JP, let's check in on the 1984 Lamborghini Jalpa that was on PCAR Market just a few days ago. Very, very interesting car. Now, this is a very polarizing car. There are lots of people who love Lamborghinis and would probably foolishly buy a Countach, but they can't afford one, which is probably a good thing, because if you can't afford the car, you sure as heck can't afford to maintain and service it. This would be the more affordable baby version of the Countach, if I could get away with saying that. It's Lamborghini's 1984 V8 offering that would have come in as an affordable alternative to the Countach. Although that being said, JP, I am not 100% sure that this car was ever sold legally in the United States. It's not to say that they aren't here, but almost everyone I saw that I was looking at comparable results, all of the odometers were in kilometers, which is sort of a giveaway that they were rest of the world cars. This one is no different. Out of Maddale, Oklahoma, and showing 55,000 kilometers, which is what, JP, just over 30, maybe 35,000 miles on the odometer. Our car is presented beautifully in red with this sort of cream interior. 3.5 liter V8 transverse behind the driver with Weber carburetors, 5-speed, some cool Italian design, and some OZ wheels. Not a real performer. These cars probably a little too heavy to be quick, but very exotic looking, very Lamborghini, very supercar-esque, even if it was the affordable little brother to the Countach. JP, according to our friends at classic.com, there are some Jalpa results to compare. Most Jalpas in the secondary market tend to bring about $97,000, according to our friends at classic.com. John, I didn't think this car would do as well. I came in at $92,000 and assumed that it would fail to sell and wind up in the deal tank for a large asking price in the $125,000 and up range. You came in underneath me by just a few grand. Your bid was $80,000 even. So JP, couple of things to unpack with this result. We'll jump right into it. First of all, our car hammered at $80,000. You got a Yahtzee. It failed to sell on that number, which we also both predicted, on just 14 bids. The interesting aspect, JP, is that the car sat there, and I think later that day, a deal was accepted in the deal tank where the car transacted for $100,000. So JP, the seller, the platform, and you, my partner, everybody won except me. You got a Yahtzee. Somebody got a new Lamborghini. The seller sold the car, and the platform moved the unit using their tool, the deal tank, to its greatest advantage, which is to negotiate post-hammer, and that's exactly what happened. So a tip of the hat, if P-Car Market can sell a rare gray market Lamborghini, what can't they sell? So hats off to the new regime. They made a deal, and that deserves the credit, because I can tell you this, JP, I can sell anything, but if you handed me a Lamborghini Jalpa, there'd be a lot of ehs and some wells and some you know what I mean? Like, that is not a guarantee. And the fact that they did it at just $100,000, that's applause to everybody. So, John, anything to unpack from that one? It's an FTS in the result, but the unit moved for $100,000, and that's a fair price for a car that I don't think there are a lot of people looking for. What do you think?
Yeah, and it happened fairly quickly. I don't really think of this as a deal tank deal. I think of this as more of a continuation, kind of sold after situation. Where the people that were watching were paying attention, and it was like, okay, it didn't close. The difference between P-Car Market and all of the other auction sites is that P-Car Market actively goes to at least the top 3 bidders and gives them all an opportunity to buy the car, if you want to call it that. Or you could put it in, you could frame it a different way. They call the top 3 bidders and they pester them to try to sell them a car. But if you're P-Car Market, they say opportunity. And in this particular situation, it looks like it worked out. You say that someone won a car. You were talking about how this is the little brother of the Countach, and how if you couldn't afford one, maybe you could afford to get one of these. You're the guy I would ask this, and I'm sure I'm probably right when I say this car may have a lower barrier to entry, but the maintenance fees and the maintenance costs are exactly the same as any other classic Lamborghini. I can't imagine that servicing this thing is going to be in anything remotely close to inexpensive.
I want to use one of your analogies, and that is, this Lamborghini Jalpa doesn't know it's not a V12 Countach. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. We don't know how much this car was. I don't know how much they were originally, but that's the thing about expensive cars and depreciation. They don't know that they're cheap cars now when you take it to the shop.
So like, true. Never has that little take of yours, that little soundbite, been more true than this car right here. This car doesn't know it's not an exotic car anymore.
Like, oh, you got a BMW 750 that you bought for $3,000 on Craigslist? The service is $9,000. Like, totally. What? The car thinks it's a $200,000 car, which is what it was. When it was new. All right, what do you guys think of this little Jalpa? I love the car. I think it's beautiful. I think I've said it before in other episodes. I kind of like it better than the Countach. I have no idea what one of these drives like. It's all about romance with a car like this, just like the Countach. You drive it to the golf course, and then you have the flatbed take you home or something like that. Isn't that what you were saying?
So 80s. Look at the
wheels,
wheels
and the top comes off, and it's just like it's got those, the Nakaducks or whatever. Yeah, it's just God. This car is just. I absolutely love it. LS swap the world. This car, if you could put a powertrain in it, would be magnificent. But oh boy, how much would that cost? All right, let's move on from the old beater Lambo. And what else did we make a prediction on the last episode?
All right, one of the newest members of the Nerd Herd, good friend of mine, Mikey V, and we will be selling one of Mikey's cars coming up here shortly. So, Mike, you're going to hear a lot about Mikey. So, Mikey picked this 1996 Ford Escort RS Cosworth Luxe that is in the United States. It is left-hand drive, and it is on Bring a Trailer just the other day out of Statesville, North Carolina, offered by the Patina Group with these beautiful studio shots. They've got at least enough curtains around to create like a photo booth, and very dramatic in this zinc yellow. I mean, it almost looks like a rally livery in this like day glow yellow, banana slug yellow paint job. But this was essentially, JP, a homologation special. And as we were signing off on this car, when we introduced it, it struck me that I hadn't even really noticed that the car is left-hand drive. It's almost been my experience that anytime you see one of these exotic Ford rally cars from Europe, that like 8 or 9 times out of 10, it'll be a right-hand drive car. So that big, bumper up above the window that's sticking off the glass, the reason why it's there is so that they could homologate a wing just like that onto the rally car. And all those box fender flares that, again, if it's on the production car, they can take it racing. So they had to build, I mean, who knows what the number was, 500 or 1,000 of these things so that they could homologate it and legally race it in rally competition. And while we don't know much about this car on our shores, Group B cars and other homologation special cars are the cars most enthusiasts who really love to drive rather than collect gravitate towards. So, JP, I have always wondered what it'd be like to get behind the wheel of this all-wheel drive, manual transmission, big bolstered seat, turbocharged little gem of a car. It may not move the needle for everybody, and the color and the wings might be polarizing, but I will put my hand up right away and say, I think this damn thing is cool, and it's a bummer they never sold them here. So, JP, without further ado, all of the comparable sale prices that were on Classic.com over the last couple of years were all in euros on this car. It's not to say that some haven't sold, but those prices had not been recorded by Classic. So when I give you the number of $79,000, that is a translation from euros. That it's 79 grand on average overseas, where the cars are more commonplace. Would the car ultimately bring more money here, or does it need to go home to the homeland where people would appreciate it for what it is? JP, I thought the former. I thought this car would come real near 100 grand. My bid was $96,000. You took a much more bearish track. Yours was 75 grand. And JP, believe it or not, you almost got a second Yahtzee. Our car hammered for $75,000.
Wow.
$23. So you missed a Yahtzee for the price of a cheeseburger. Our car failed to sell on 28 bids. The hard part here, JP, is what Bring a Trailer doesn't have what P-Car Market has. It's not in a deal tank. There's not an asking price, so we don't know what they're expecting. And I don't think that 75 grand really tells us what that car might actually be worth. You could argue that that's all it's worth because that's all Bring a Trailer, largest audience in the world, was willing to bid on it. But this is such a niche, such a polarizing car. In my heart of hearts, JP's, I think this should be a 6-figure car if they found the right buyer. But 75 is all it rung, and you damn near got another Yahtzee. So, JP, you're killing it. Anything to unpack from this one before you poo-poo that you don't like the car, which I'm sure is coming.
Look, it's interesting because P-Car Market, everyone's saying that they're stepping up. I don't know what's going on over there, but this is a second car that sold after. If you actually look at the listing here,
I didn't read it.
Looks like, so it didn't even make it to the deal tank because I think the negotiators, the last bid.
This is BAT. This is BAT.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, this is a BAT. For some reason, I'm sorry. My bad, guys.
Yep.
Okay, so this was something. It didn't even, because usually when they go to the price thing afterwards, I think they list it, but they're saying let's hear 222 when the auction closed on the 11th. This car reserve was not met. And then Turbo, looks like Turbo 36 is asking, are we close on the price? And then by 7 o'clock that night, Greg K says, car is sold. Congrats to Michael Donnie. And thank you, Patrick. So sounds like some kind of deal happened. And was it the high bidder is the big question. Yeah, it looks like it was the high bidder by Michael Donnie. So
there you go.
So
Congratulations.
It's interesting that it took that long. I mean, well, then again, it took that long for someone to post it, but I wonder how long after the auction. This is kind of a new development in these auctions, these opportunities to go back and still get the car. The thing that's different with BAT versus P-Car Market is BAT only deals with the top bidder. They won't go down to the second or third bidder. So, which I think is.
And what do they call it, JP? Is it a proxy bid where they just basically they go to the high bidder and they say, What's your highest bid for the car? They don't really get on the phone and be like one guy on line one and then the other guy on line two and go between, which is what P-Car Market does. They're like working the desk for a car deal. BAT just says, hey, submit your highest bid and we'll present it to him, and he'll either accept it or he won't, or he may counter you one time and then you either accept it or you don't. But it's a very quick negotiation. They don't have time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and Single Cab brings up a really good point. It's like, cheeseburgers are $23, and it's like, God dang, yeah, you know what? They are. I had to think about that when you said I missed it by the cost of a cheeseburger. And in my brain, I'm still like, I bought a hat for $6. A cheeseburger for $23?
They had to call the manager. They had to call the manager for you to get that hat for $6. You know what I mean? Like, they did you a favor.
Burgers, at least $15. Stefan says so. Inflation, right? I mean, there it is. It's all about.
You can't argue that I do or don't know the price of a good cheeseburger. Look at that. I got the proof. The proof is right under the camera. You know what I mean?
There is a guy who has all the credential he needs. Who says experts don't know what they're talking about?
There's a good little driving video of the Ford Escort, and it's interesting. You guys might want to watch it and turn the volume up. It's again, I just think it's a cool little car. It's probably not fast by today's standard, but it's probably still fun by today's standard. And again, it's unobtainium. We never had that car on our shores. Watch the video. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. All right, let's move on, guys. I was going to play the video a little bit, but let's, all right, what was the next car on the list? What do we got?
All right, JP, a really weird one. Let's circle back to the custom 1972 Porsche 914 Speedster. This was running no reserve on Bring a Trailer, not too far from you, JP, out there in Arizona. Let me give you the town because I know you know the area. Oh, in Tucson. So the car was in Tucson. JP, you told me that it was not uncommon to find a 914 where somebody had chopped off the Targa bar to create a sort of a traditional roadster convertible, or in this case, nicknamed Speedster. I cannot recall consciously looking at a 914 that didn't have a Targa bar on and noticing that it was chopped. So, as I have met you and become, a Porsche guy, this is really the first one that's ever caught my eye. So I suspected that the car would do a lot better because I thought it was uncommon, and you telling me that back in the day it was more common. This one, I think, struggled because it doesn't look like it was done to a high standard.
Well, hold on. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. It was relatively common, but it wasn't a good idea, and it never really looked good. If you were reading those Porsche magazines back in the day, you always had because that's where you had to get parts for your cheap Porsches, was the magazines. Yeah. And what was it, the California guys? They had the same name as the Beach Boys Porsche. Yeah. They always had pictures of these really ugly things, but how much did this stupid pile of crap go for? Because it just destroys the car and nobody wants this thing.
Yeah, and clearly that was the case. So the guy ran it no reserve, JP. I thought that the car would bring $9,140. After you got done laughing at my bid, JP, you came in at $4,914. It actually it hammered closer to me, JP. $7,900 where it sold on 27 bids. The only thing I'm going to say to this, JP, is for under 10 grand, I'm assuming this car was sold regionally, somewhere you could basically go and get it with your truck and trailer. I cannot fathom that somebody's going to ship this car anywhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, because that's the thing. I love the idea of going and picking up your car and driving it home. But, anywhere on the West Coast, you could have driven something like this home. But, I mean, even the cost of a $200 Spirit Airline or, $79 Allegiant Air flight from L.A. to Tucson is going to kind of make the whole financial thing go, is it really worth it because the likelihood of this thing not making it home is great. So yeah, what a pile of crap. I don't know. I guess fun for somebody. Hopefully a kid got it. Hopefully someone will do something with it. It's not going to be worth it to restore it. And to put the loop back on, like our friends at Godden Classic put the loop back on the Targa, the Targa 911 that was chopped. But there's just nothing good going on here except that a go-kart. This would be a fun safari thing, put a roll bar in it or something like that, like a regular one or something. I don't know.
JP, a friend of ours bought a car in the upper Pacific Northwest, not too far from where you grew up. And the car started life as a 75 Targa, but they chopped the top off of it and then put the turbo flares. So what they created was a 1975 turbo look cab, and the car's done to a surprisingly good standard. What do you think of a car like that? So we're kind of bashing or we're criticizing doing that to a 914. Now that it's been done to a Targa, and it's been done like the polar opposite. Well, this is sort of done, it doesn't show well in the photos. This car we have on good authority looks really nice. Like you would walk up to it and think it was built by Porsche that way. Does that enhance the value, or have we crushed a 75 Targa? You know what I mean? What do you think?
Oh gosh, yeah, no, there's no way that. I mean, well,
with a 3-liter SC motor.
With not the original motor, or
because it was a 2.7. It was a 2.7. So now it's got a 3-liter on Weber's with turbo flares, and it looks chef's kiss.
Yeah, I mean, there's not really much difference between a Targa and a convertible. There's really not that much more rigidity to the chassis or any of that nonsense. They don't reinforce the cabs really. So I mean, if it looks good and you do strut tower braces and bigger sway bars and stuff like that, you can actually get the car to
make it
be
work.
Pretty, you can make it work. Yeah. And with a bigger engine, and it looks good. It's certainly not going to be worth it to bring it back, because the amount of money it costs to put a Targa loop back on, and the difficulty, it's surprisingly hard to actually do it and get everything to line up. Inexpensive, of course. So
ask Steve Teal.
Yeah, and it makes sense when you find out that you've got a one of 6 M491 Targas that was chopped. But if it's just a run-of-the-mill narrow body Targa, whatever, have fun with it. That sounds like a great driver car, and no one's going to care that it's a 75 versus a 87 or whatever.
Yeah,
it's just
it's smog exempt in California.
Wow, there you go.
Yeah, it's a cool car. We may see that car come up for sale, and if we do, we'll take a deep dive on it. JP, should we do one more, and then we can get to
we got to cover that last car that we talked about. What do we got? Let's do it quick.
All right, JP, we're going to circle back to another P-car market offering, this time a Superformance created 1963 Chevrolet Corvette, rebuilt or reimagined by Superformance as a Grand Sport, but resto modded. Not a faithful Grand Sport, but evocative of a Grand Sport. I mean, look at that, 17-inch wheels, and the list goes on from there. Super cool car, JP. For the few that like this, they pay big money to have these cars built by Superformance, and they're not readily available. So to find one that comes in the secondary market, you wondered how well it would do. And then I also wondered aloud if P-Car Market is the right platform for a car like this. We're talking about an unusual recreated Corvette. I kind of feel like a car like this would do better possibly to a broader audience on Bring a Trailer, or maybe a domestic heavy audience like you would find on Hemmings or Haggerty. In any case, the car came on to P-Car Market. Let's call it fair assets, not great, but at least they do an honest depiction. They're very clear photos, so you can really examine the condition of the car. JP, according to classic.com, modified 63 Corvettes in the secondary market tend to bring almost $242,000. JP, I didn't think this car was going anywhere. My bid was $85,000, and you took a huge underneath me at just $55,000. Now, the car hammered for $155,000, but it failed to sell there on just 5 bids. The car got little to no action, which I think kind of reinforces that the car wasn't a good fit for the platform. The platform is Euro heavy, and I think this needs to go to a domestic heavy audience, and so that's why I said what I said. JP, the car remains available in P-Car Market's deal tank at an asking price of $280,000, which is certainly more congruent with what we see modified to a high standard 63 Corvettes bring. And that's what this car is. But JP, that is a niche market that is getting thinner by the day because the boomers are dying off. And how are you going to go sell a modified, non-original 63 for $250,000 to a guy that's under 65 years old? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, that's the boomer way, is to spend all the money. They don't want to. They want to get as much money together before they die. They don't want to pass it off to anybody. Their kids are going to get cars like this. Look, I think my number was more in. Look, I know that the final bid was $155,000, but without looking, what do you think what's the delta? What was the underbid without looking? Oh, you're looking. What the hell?
80. No, I'm not 80. I'm gonna say 80.
$80,000. Okay, so it went from 80 to 155. Does that
My
sound like a
guess.
shill bid to you?
Well, I mean, geez, you wonder.
What if I
It's an
told you
eyebrow
the
raiser.
underbid was $40,000?
Well, then
Not the
155 looks
Delta,
weird.
but there
Yeah.
it went from $40,000 to $155,000. Guys, we're talking about P-Car Market. P-Car Market, if you're trying to change your reputation, if you're trying to get things right and get people to go, okay, maybe they really are trying to reform over there, then when someone with a username RXYZLYCQ bids over $100,000 more than the previous bid, maybe you got a shill bidder there, guys. It doesn't take a rocket genius surgeon, whatever, to figure that out.
And maybe they're aware of it. I mean, JP, you and I know it'd be very difficult to police that. Only thing you could do is ask questions later, and then if you suspect that there was something, funny business going on, then you would sort of ban the seller. But I mean, it would be almost impossible for the platform to actually deflect shill bids. You're just not going to know until you investigate later. But yeah, JP, that level of jump is certainly one that'll raise your eyebrows. And we know there's a new team in charge at P-Car Market. I'm sure they're examining everything.
Especially when you know you're going to get a crack at it, because they're going to call you. If you're the high bidder, you only need to bid $10 more, whatever the minimum, $250 or $1,000 or whatever, and you're going to get a call from a guy with an accent. It just doesn't. The whole thing just smells so Oyster Bay fishy. Old oysters in a can, cracked open, stuck behind the heater in a garage. Just nasty, nasty stuff. So beware, guys. Still buyer beware on P-Car Market.
I hope we find out, JP, just for fun. I hope we find out that the new regime at P-Car Market is situated in Clark County. That'd be hilarious, and then we can hang out with them.
So if you're a fan of Single Cab there in the Nerd Herd, and we love all you guys Nerd Herds, just so everybody knows, he's changing his name to XYZQRSTI, just so you guys can keep up. And look at that, Ross is changing his to XYZZMNL. Is that a VIN number or something? All right, let's move on, guys. Let's get to some predictions. We will be right back. Hey guys, I gotta tell you about our friends Godden Porsche of Las Vegas and Godden Classic. If you're looking for a new Porsche or a classic, you gotta call our friend Steve at Godden, this guy. Save yourself the hassle of screwing around with all the auctions like we always talk about, and just talk to Steve. He'll find you the classic Porsche you're looking for. Godden Porsche of Las Vegas. Hey guys, you're probably looking at your watch and wondering if Bid Nerds will ever end. So you better talk to our friends at Our Smiths to make sure your Rolex, Tag Heuer, AP, or any fine timepiece is in tip-top shape. Our Smiths, fine Swiss repair. All right, we are back, and look, I've got to update the commercial because our friends at Porsche Henderson are our official sponsor. We're still big fans. Actually, I should go like that. The folks up there in the corner, Godden Classic, Godden Porsche, and Porsche Henderson, they all have the same parent company, but Porsche Henderson is the brand that is now the official sponsor, as well as Godden Classic. So they've both kind of pulled together, and they are, sending us the love and sending you guys the love too. So if you guys need parts or a car or whatever, definitely reach out to Porsche Henderson or Godden Classic and let them know you heard their name said on Bid Nerds. All right, let's get
welcome them to the world. That they built that dealership out of thin air. It was dirt 4 years ago, and now they've constructed one of the world's only Gen 5 stores. I mean, there's more coming all the time, but it's really cool, and that is brand new, completely. They built the whole thing, and it's pretty amazing, and very excited to go down there and say hi to Paul and all the gang there and check them out. But congratulate them when you reach out. They are all new in business. Be patient with them while they're coming up to speed to meet all your Porsche needs. Really good people. JP and I know them, and we're fond of them. They're great people.
And we'll be there this Thursday for their official grand opening. So definitely looking forward to what Julie Kane came up with. That's going to be some cool stuff. Yeah. All right, let's get to some predictions. It is that time. We're looking at our Smiths Aviero watch that tells us it is time to make all new predictions. Are we in a turbo boost economy, or is it time to hit the brakes? Our bids tonight will reflect our personal opinions on whether or not the economy can handle
For
big
better
bids
or worse.
or fails to sell. What's the first car on the list? Is this first car going to bring that big turbo money, Deeb? What do we got?
All right, JP. I think several people sent this to you and several people sent this to me, but this no surprise that this car wound up on our list. If you're a fan of Porsches like we are and you're a fan of Bring a Trailer, you had to have noticed that they have a 1994 Porsche 911 Turbo 3.6 in paint to sample Titan metallic. JP, before we go any further, prior to this listing, had you ever heard of the paint color Titan metallic?
Negative, Ghost Rider.
Me neither. That's a new one by me. And boy, is it a looker. It's kind of like GT Silver and Audi's old Atlas Gray had a baby and then added more clear coat to it. It's a really, really beautiful, very rich looking color, 43,000 miles. I dig it. It's very German. It's really cool. It's very industrial looking, which is, the Porsches have so many curves. So to paint it in very industrial color, I'm digging it. JP, offered on Bring a Trailer as a premium listing. So it's been up for like 12 days, but it's coming down to close this week before the next show. Offered out of North Salem, New York. That means our friends, and I say friends loosely, 1600 Veloce. I've never met these guys, JP, but man, do they get some cool cars every now and again. And of course, they get out and take some rolling shots, which we love. Look at that, JP, rolling shots for a premium listing. We have to use this as evidence A, exhibit A. And then they take these great shots in the studio where you can really take a deep dive on the condition of the car. John, our car only has 43,000 miles. And according to the listing, it has been in the same family, the same care until 2025, where it has either changed hands or been brought to the guys at 1600 Veloce to come to market. So this is essentially a one-owner car in paint to sample with low miles of a rare and uber desirable model. Now it's interesting, JP, we get to this conundrum where we say it's super desirable, like everybody wants this car, but the reality, it's still a niche car because there's only a handful of crypto bros that can afford this thing. These cars have become seriously big money, and when you get low odometer, excellent condition, excellent provenance, and then you do that whisper of paint to sample, and oh man, people start to lose their mind. So John, I suspect this one will break the bank. Beautiful car, beautiful presentation. This is ticking all the boxes to sort of like, this is one that we're going to see really ring the bell, I suspect here. I think big money is going to be paid for this car. The curious thing is if we're going to maybe set a new record because it's the it car, right? So, John, tell us what you know about 3.6s and what do you think of Titan Metallic?
It's a beautiful color. These are one of the greatest cars of all time. The big question to me is, as we talk about how exclusive the car is and how beautiful it is and how sought after this car will be, you ask the question, who has the money? One thing that's with the stock market going up and down all over the place, with people doing these big sell-offs and stuff, that money comes out, right? When someone sells their stock, all that money is being sold off. That money has got to go somewhere. So securities. A lot of where's it going to go? Are you going to go something safe? Are you going to get a T-bills or bonds or boring stuff? Or are you going to hedge your bet with something like this? I mean, I think it's pretty likely that we're going to see continued inflation. I would be shocked if we see prices go down in a meaningful way. Just in general, because there's still a lot of money in the system. There's all this uncertainty does a lot to lower demand, which tends to reduce prices across the board. But you're still talking about too much money in the damn system. There's too much liquidity out there, and I think people are going to be looking for places to put it. And when the stock market, when Wall Street takes money out of the stock market, it's looking for other places. Main Street, not so much, but that's why this whole thing, the idea of Main Street versus Wall Street, what is going to happen with the money that people pull out of the stock market? They're going to look for other things. It used to be that when the stock market went down, gold and silver and stuff like that would go up. But nowadays, it's like people are either investing or they're not investing at all. So crypto was supposed to be a hedge, just like just like precious metals, right? That was the idea. It was supposed to be, okay, if the stock market's here, then crypto should be down here, and it should be an inverse relationship. Same thing with gold and silver. One should be against the other. But nowadays, it's like, are people putting money into securities or not? In or out, just in general. So people have their money diversified over all kinds of stuff. So they're either going to be in the stock market, they're either going to be, they're going to have their money in the stock market and crypto and gold, or they're not at all. They're going to just hold cash. And I think it's dumb to hold cash right now, honestly, because if you're holding cash, you're definitely losing more than in the stock market, because the value of money is going to continue to go down, in my opinion. Don't take my advice. I'm not a financial expert, clearly, but this car, I think, would be a good place to put money, because unlike that silly... I don't know, that Corvette that we were talking about before the break that failed on Bring a Trailer spectacularly, right? And got that shill bid of $155,000 when the bid before was only $40,000. The only place you could sell a car like that is Meekum's auction, when there's a bunch of boomers, getting fed drinks, drinking, standing around, and some pretty girl is actually talking to them, and so they'll bid on that car, right? And then their kid is going to have to unload the car in 4 or 5 years when they pass away. Whereas this car, because the value of those Corvettes is just going down and down and down and down. There's no generation of people to replace the people that want that car. They're all going away. Whereas this car, it doesn't matter how old you are. If you're into cars, you want this car. This car is the car. This car will always be the car. This car is always going to be worth something. Whatever money you put in this car, you will realize this is an appreciating asset if you sit on this car. So it is safe money. It's as good as a T-bill as far as I'm concerned, or a bond. What do you think it's going to bring?
All right, JP. So here it goes. I'm gonna book this car again because I'm so nervous about it. Let's see, 3.6. Let's go. All right. JP, so our car is currently sitting at $389,000, and it doesn't close yet for another 3 days. That comes to us by way of 12 bids. John, according to our friends at Classic.com, the average selling price for a 1994 Porsche 911 Turbo 3.6 tends to be $343,000, and we're already 40 grand past that. I'm just trying to see what some of the higher bids have. Yeah, it's like there have been a couple of cars in 2024 that sold, close to 600 grand. I can't believe I'm going to say this, JP, but I'm going to give you 585,000 and say that it's going to set the high water mark for the model for the year 2025. And again, it just ticks all the right boxes. I think it's on the right platform, and it's being handled by a professional seller who kind of knows what to do with these sorts of things. I think it's been brought to market just right, and there's no reason why it shouldn't. If somebody's out there and they want one of these and they want the best of the best, this is the best of the best of a highly collectible Porsche. I think they're going to fight over it. So to me, JP, it goes right past 500 grand and is pushing 585,000 to you. Get off your damn wallet, JP, and give me a bid over that. I dare you.
Man. Yeah, I think the story of last week was hot potato. It's like, okay, the market is up a couple thousand points, it's down a couple thousand points. People are like, one day to the next, they're freaking out. I think as we cruise into this week and to the next, people are going to start going, all right, we're just... These crazy wild swings are just the new normal. We have a state of an economy that is just going to be in flux. And so people are just going to look at their bottom line. They're going to go, okay, yeah, fine. I'm buying the car it makes sense to buy this car because, like I said before, you'll get the money out of it. I think it's going to bring big money, but I don't know if it's going to set new watermarks. I don't know if we're quite in a We're not in a place like we were in 23, 24 when we were when everyone was just spending money like drunken sailors and everything was making records, right? But I do think this car will do well. I'm gonna go $500,964.
500,000.
Yeah, I think it'll just barely break 500. I'd like to see that. That would be a good canary in the coal mine to get kind of a gauge on how people are feeling, because this car is definitely one of those that is a blue chip car. All right, what do you guys think? Looks like the Nerd Herd is kind of in agreement with us. Most people are hovering in the 500,000 range, give or take. But you are definitely the high guy here.
Always.
So we will see.
Always.
We will see in a few days. Yeah. All right. What's the next car? What do we got?
It's a real nail biter, JP. You and I are only $84,000 apart. Think of the 911 you could buy for $84,000.
Or at least a couple of cheeseburgers in San Francisco.
At least a couple of cheeseburgers. All right, JP. Let me get this right, because at Ocavant has sent us the next listing. Thank you for reaching out.
OC. Orange County.
Avant. Orange County Avant. All right, now I get it. I just don't understand why they didn't capitalize Avant. So OC Avant, which I love, and they selected for us, JP, this 2001 Audi S4 Avant. 6-speed manual example with just 40,000 miles from new. And JP, I know these cars pretty well. I was a big fan when they came out. I can tell you this, that the Casablanca white paint on this car makes it practically a unicorn. There were not that many of these cars sold in this colorway. So this car ticks a lot of blocks. You got a rare paint shade. It was a regular range color, but not often chosen. And then it's got low odometer and 6-speed manual. The big thing on these 2.7 liter V6s, JP, is that right around 40, 50,000 miles, most of these cars would blow their turbos. These turbos that Audi bought as a customer from a vendor just didn't have a longevity. They were wildly modifiable. You could easily get 350 horsepower out of these things and make them super, super fast. But they were not in it for the long haul. If you had this car for 40,000 miles, chances are during that time you'd have to replace the turbochargers and get new ones. And at that point, you could always upgrade the car and really get some power out of it. But JP, this car looks beautiful in the photos out of New Milford, Connecticut by the seller Auto Corsa. It's just about the condition, the rarity of the example. A lot of these JP had two-tone interiors. This one is restrained in all black silk, onyx, silk Napa leather, and then sort of the ash wood. These cars were super fun to drive, super fun to modify, and most of them have been beat to snot and trade for like $10,000. This car, I think, is going to do really, really well here when it closes in a couple of days from now. So, Mr. OC Avant, thank you for bringing back the
Hey, wait a second. Is that Single Cab? Single Cab says that's him.
Oh,
look at that.
Is that him?
Nerd Herd fan. Right on. Single Cab and OC Avant is the same person. Everybody, we can't keep up with you guys and your fancy
all these avatars.
What the heck is going on around here?
Oh, man. Everybody's got to have a pen name, JP. It's so in style, especially in Orange County. Well, there you go. So, JP, I love the car. These are kind of fun to drive. They don't handle as well as maybe a sports car. But for a wagon or the guy that likes to ski or snowboard or has dogs or has a big, this car does everything well, really, really well. It's just the turbos are side of the Achilles. But finding one in this condition, JP, is a car worth celebrating. So, John, any love for the old S4s, sedan or wagons? Did you ever drive one that had whip turbos and listen to the blow-off valves?
Yeah, it's not just the turbos. The timing chains on these are will absolutely blow the engine up too. So there are a number of Achilles heels on these particular cars. I absolutely hate this car because when I got my first modern Porsche, it was a C4S 996. I was so proud of that car, and we went on a big drive over the Blewett Pass for my Northwest friends up there. If you know Blewett Pass, you know that is one spectacular mountain road, very fast, sweepy road, not unlike Lake Mead here in the North Shore Drive here. It's not tight and technical like a Crest. It's very swoopy and just you can
third and fourth gear. Yeah,
you could just do those really just top speed pulls, right? And so I had my C4S, and Sahan was hanging out with his buddy Jay, who had an S4. I think it was just a sedan or whatever. But he was like keeping up with me, and I'm like, come on, man. I have a Porsche, bro. 911 with a quadraphonic plow punt. Apparently I needed a curveball. All right. What's this thing going to bring?
All right, JP. So according to our friends at classic.com, the old S4 Avant, and I can't remember if there was I don't think there was a tag for the manual. The old S4 Avants tend to bring just $16,000 in the secondary market. Now, JP, when I booked my car before, our car is currently sitting at $20,999, and I think that bid just came in because my original bid was 21 grand, but we're already at 21 grand, and this car doesn't close for another 2 days. So I'm gonna go a little bit bigger here, JP. I think this car is gonna get really close to 30 grand. I'm gonna give you $28,000 as a bid on an old S4. This would certainly be a new high water mark for this model if it dings to my number. JP, I'm positive you're going to come in underneath me. How bearish are you on the S4 Avant with a manual and just 40,000 on the clock?
Well, have we looked at the maintenance records? Do we know if that timing chain's been done, if the turbos have been done? I mean, that's a big thing. So I'm
no
sure whoever's
clue.
looking
We
at
didn't
this
want
is gonna
to
know
do
that.
our homework.
Yeah, I'll go 27 grand and just it's definitely going to be under you. But people do like these, and the wagons are hot right now. I wonder if
good car.
Yeah, really cool car. All right, let's move on. What's the next car on the list? What do we got?
Thank you, Single Cab, and thank you for outing yourself. Now we know how to follow you on Bring a Trailer. So there it is.
Single Cab, we're going to see Aaron Waters since you're an OC.
Yeah, that's right. In his backyard. Actually, he's going to have us all over for dinner. There you go.
Yep. All right.
JP, on Cars and Bids right now, Doug DeMuro is peddling a 2015 Ferrari California T that just has 13,900 miles on the odometer. This is a twin turbocharged V8 with a power retractable hardtop. And of course, the car is unmodified, which is more common with late model Ferraris. Most of those guys, the best you get somebody to do is like a Capristo exhaust, and he can open and close the valve from his key fob. But usually when we see young Ferraris, they're still pretty stock, and the cars are usually so fast. JP, I was working for Ferrari when this car came out, the T, the turbocharged version. And Ferrari San Francisco sent me to New Jersey to be there for the launch. I've told this story before, but it's probably been a few years. When we were there, we were test driving Cali T's against Bentley convertibles and Porsche 911 Turbo S convertibles of the same vintage. And there was one other car, and I can't even remember what it was. But I was impressed with the Ferrari because the original California had a shrieking V8 and a car kind of handled, but not really. This car felt much more composed and had much more effortless torque and power because of the twin turbochargers. And what I thought was so interesting is, why did they bring the Porsche to the thing? Because the Porsche drove superior in every way. But the California T was very close. In my opinion, it was like 80% of the competence and the power and the delivery and the refinement of the Porsche. It was really, really close, but it wasn't the Turbo S cab, which I was still, to this day, I'm still so impressed with. These are great cars. Turbo S cabs are also great cars, but these cars, I think, are softer in the secondary market, even though they were more expensive when they were brand new. So I think these cars today, JP, if you want an entry-level Ferrari, not a ton of headaches. It's not to suggest that this is going to be an easy car to service and maintain, but this car isn't exactly a Lamborghini Jalpa either. These wind up being a really great value grab if you're into open-air motoring, and they're really fun to drive. Again, it's not a Turbo S cab, but it's really damn close, and probably for, just a percentage of the money. So JP, I send it over to you. Red and tan probably wouldn't move the needle for you or me, but any love for the Cali T and its twin turbo and its retractable hardtop front engine? Certainly not as ugly as the original California, but not the prettiest car either. What do you think?
I don't ish on the original one as much as you. I mean, this is definitely better looking. I like these. As a GT car, I've seen a few of these like laid out, like lowered. You put the coilovers on there, and they look so much better in their stock configuration. American delivery height, it's just 4x4 status. But this car brought down is like a completely different car, both in this version and the previous version. I like it. What's it going to bring?
All right, JP. Our car is currently sitting at $85,500 on 13 bids, and it doesn't close for another couple of days. According to our friends at Classic.com, the average selling price of a Cali T in the secondary market is about $134,000. And I would go out and say that this car probably has lower miles than the average one. That being said, Doug DeMuro's site is selling more upmarket cars. We have certainly seen that since they were funded and really made headlines. But I don't know if a Ferrari Cali T is the right car for Doug's audience. Maybe it's the perfect car for Doug's audience. Doug loves to talk about the depreciation of luxury sedans and what a great value they are. So maybe the Cali T falls right into that category that Doug likes to endorse. If that's correct, then this car should bring over 134. But I'm going to bid against that sentiment. My bid is going to be just $125,000. And I think if this owner is smart, he would take that number for that car because I don't think these cars are going to gain any value back anytime soon. So, JP, just 125 to you betting against this car super performing. Where are you at?
Yeah, if you're at all concerned about the economy, if you don't think that we're hitting the turbo button and everything's going to be awesome, I think this is the kind of car that's going to suffer the most. That much more expensive 911 turbo that we were just talking about, the classic car, the values of those are going to continue to go up. Whereas something like this, I mean, geez, you can get a Lamborghini Huracan for around 150 grand now. I mean, it's just crazy how quickly those are depreciating. I know this is a nice car, but there's just a lot of other exotics that you can get in that $130,000 to $180,000 range. This isn't a high on anyone's list. This is the only reason someone buys this is if there's a value, if it's cheap. And this is Doug DeMuro's site, like you said. Bad platform for this car. Bad platform for any car, really, because that site's just doing so poorly. I'm going to say 115, and I'm going to be even surprised, honestly, if it breaks 100. I think it's going to FTS really below that, but I think really the value of this car is about $115 on any platform. All right, what do you guys think? Let us know, and let's hit one more car really fast because we're not going to have a lot of time to talk about it because we're near the end of the show, but I do want to talk about it on the other side. So
yeah, super weird car, JP, that I only noticed, and apparently this car ran in last month and FTS'd at anyway, let me get into it. It's a 1978 Ford Falcon XC Cobra with a 302. This is an Australian market car. Some of you might recognize this shape in matte black because Mad Max drove one in the original Mad Max movie with I can't think of his name, the actor.
Mel Gibson.
But Mel Gibson. JP, the car ran in March and it failed to sell at 83,000. And now the car has come back to market and is running no reserve, and it closes 3 days from now. The current bid is $57,500, and that's on 9 bids, and it closes 3 days from now. It basically closes on Wednesday, and later that day we'll open our next show. So, John, it's hard to imagine that this car is going to do better than it did last time, but it is running no reserve, and it did get to 83 grand, and it is pure unobtainium. But I have a sneaky suspicion this owner or seller is hoping to get 6 figures for this car. And the bad news is, JP, is that it's right-hand drive and automatic. So despite being a very cool vintage Ford that has performance pedigree, it's a wildly patriotic color with an ugly interior and an automatic transmission to boost. And I think he should have taken the 83 last time. And maybe that's all he wants for it this time. But John, I just think he's a little late. So he's at 57 now. I'm going to go $78,000. And of course, it's going to sell because it's no reserve. Do you think he's going to get back up to 83 or higher for an automatic right-hand drive? I know it's cool, but it's on the wrong side and it doesn't have enough pedals, right?
Yeah. What was your number?
78. I think he's going to miss his last mark by $5 grand, and the car's just going to go away.
Yeah, I'm going to go 75, and he bet. Well, if it's no reserve, he better take it.
No reserve.
Do it no reserve because that's the only way this car goes. I think it's. Yeah, it's just let's talk more about it on when we reconcile our predictions from the other one. But thank you everyone for hanging out. Do us a favor, hit the thumbs up, like, and notification button, and then go on all of the listings and make sure you say that you heard of the car on Bidners.
Yeah, I'm selling a AMG GTR on the Wheelhouse account on Bring a Trailer. So take a look at that car. It's black. It's beautiful. If you can, make a comment, help me engage, and then we'll cover the car on Wednesday night. Thanks, you guys.
And of course, one more time, just to remind you guys, if you're thinking about selling your car on Bring a Trailer, any of the online enthusiast auction sites, give us a holler, reach out to us on our Instagram page, and let us know. And we are available to help you out with those listings, from everything from assets to interaction. Give us a holler. We want to help you sell your car because we're the nerds and we know how. See you guys. Hey guys, I got to tell you about our friends Godden Porsche of Las Vegas and Godden